resilient, and the Commission and the ECB briefed us on their work, which indicated that growth had been better in the first half of the year than was expected. Ministers shared their views on the impact of the stronger dollar, which has appreciated significantly against, the impact of the stronger euro, which has appreciated strongly against the dollar, particularly in the first half of the year. And we will continue to monitor exchange rate developments. On the fiscal side, budget preparations take centre stage in the member states, and many ministers, including myself, have presented their national budgets this week. And even though our regular discussion on draft budget plans is scheduled for later in the year, coordination of our budget policies remains essential. And we discussed recent events, and we will continue to follow developments closely. We then welcomed our non-Euro area colleagues to continue our meeting in inclusive format. We had an important assessment of where we are on Capital Markets Union, which remains our major priority. It was the first annual stock-taking exercise since our statement last spring, and gave us an opportunity to see what progress we're making, particularly at a national level. And at a national level, we can now see the number of new initiatives that are being taken, both at the EU and, as I said, at national level. And this is very consistent with the Eurogroup strategy, which was quite clear on the fact that a multi-layer approach is necessary, consisting of bottom-up efforts and top-down EU initiatives. So we heard from Croatia regarding the work that they are doing in the consolidation of market infrastructure. We heard from Portugal on an initiative about offering companies a different understanding regarding how IPOs can be executed. And then I gave my colleagues an update on our work in Ireland on the establishment of our new auto-enrolment retirement system, which we are calling My Future Fund. The Commission then updated us on their recent EU initiatives, and while we're making some progress, we have an awful lot more to do. We then turn to the second item regarding stablecoins, with a focus on recent developments and their implications for the euro area. We have seen growing interest from established financial institutions and corporate actors in stablecoins, and we're aware of the growth of this sector. We know that it's very likely that these digital assets will play an increasing role in the operation of financial markets. And with this in mind, we exchanged views regarding both opportunities and risks. And we're now going to come back to this subject shortly, particularly given the recent progress we made on the digital euro. And we then concluded with a short information point where I updated our colleagues on the letter that I will be sending President Costa in advance of the Euro Summit that will be taking place the week after next. Thank you. So, pass over to Valdis for his view on the Eurogroup meeting.
Yes, thank you, Pascal. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me begin with a few words on economic outlook. This year, euro area economy is in a slightly better shape than we had expected in spring, but at the same time, looking ahead, the growth outlook for 2026 has softened somewhat to compare with our spring projections. This underlines the importance and urgency of taking action on all levels to enhance the competitiveness and secure our prosperity. The Commission will provide a detailed update on economic forecast when we present our autumn economic forecast in November. A brief word on fiscal surveillance. Maintaining sound public finances while investing in key priorities such as security and defense will remain critical in a period ahead. As we enter the new European cycle, I reminded ministers that the Commission looks forward for receiving their draft budgetary plans for 2026 by 15th of October. In fact, we have already received the plans from the Netherlands and Finland. The Commission will assess all plans to their compliance with the net expenditure path recommended by the Council, and we will present our assessment as usual at the European semester autumn package. So currently it's scheduled for 25th of November. So moving to the question on financial services topics, we had a good discussion on capital markets union. Delivering on the savings and investment union will require a combination of EU and national level measures. Therefore, it was highly relevant that a number of national experiences were shared. We also had an important discussion on the issue of stable coins, and as you know, it's currently the substantial development with regard to our financial and payment systems, and we need to balance opportunities and risks related to stable coins. Supporting their safe and sound development based on MiCA regulation is paramount for our competitiveness and for ensuring opportunities for our financial sector to embrace regulation. Finally, we discussed, also touched upon the questions on the international role of the euro and digital euro, where we had seen encouraging signs that regulation establishing the digital euro is moving forward with renewed momentum following our recent political agreement on approach on setting holding limits. So we need to build on that limit to realize the Danish presidency's ambition to reach a common approach still this year. But we also need to go beyond the digital euro. A stronger international role of the euro can help ensure that Europe controls its own destiny in a context of increased geopolitical fragmentation. To achieve this objective, we need to press ahead with our well-known priorities, especially implementation of the competitiveness compass, the savings and investments union, also enhancing Europe's defense capabilities. And at the same time, we need to follow closely the rapid technological and geopolitical changes which may require further measures and policies. It is therefore welcome that these issues will be discussed in this month's Euro Summit. Thank you. And now I pass over to Pierre.
I got it. Thanks, Pascal. Thanks, Valdis. Let me welcome you warmly to this press conference in Luxembourg, which is also the headquarters of the European Stability Mechanism. I will dwell on two topics today: the macroeconomic environment, with also a stint on the international role of the euro, and then afterwards also say a few words on stable coins. So the macroeconomic environment is still largely shaped by US economic developments and political uncertainty there. So far, the US tariffs have had a smaller effect on the US economy and in lowering growth and sparking inflation on the one hand than was initially feared, and so that has made markets, fueled markets and investors' optimism. However, the full impact of these tariffs needs yet to be seen. The US economy might also be approaching a turning point. Continued
approval, whether if there are some changes or even the pension reform is killed, whether France will have to find savings somewhere else. And if that happens and they don't achieve the fiscal sustainability, they risk sanctions from the EU side.
Yeah, thank you for this question. So indeed, today I had a first meeting with Minister Lescure to discuss political situations, possible next steps, and as well as work on budget preparations. And it is clear that for 2026 substantial consolidation measures are needed to stay within the maximum net expenditure growth required under the French medium-term fiscal structural plan. And I emphasized the importance of sticking with this medium-term plan. Well, as you know, still the process of formation of government is now in progress, as well as a process.
Optimism. However, the full impact of these tariffs needs yet to be seen. The US economy might also be approaching a turning point. Continued the euro is steady rise in foreign participation in euro sovereign debt issuances. I had a clear confirmation of this at the capital market seminar that we co-organized last week with European Investment Bank and the EU Commission. In addition, central banks are adjusting their foreign reserve strategies. The 2025 OMFIF survey reveals that a net 16% of central banks anticipate increasing their euro holdings in the next 12 to 24 months, the highest share of any currency. For the US dollar, this share is only 5%. Compared to the figures last year, this is quite a reversal. So if you're interested in that, I wrote a blog on all these points. So we need to build on this momentum, and we need to act. So we have three major things to do in Europe. Is first, to maintain sound fiscal policies and financial stability. Second, advance the savings and investment union and in the single market. And third, embrace technological innovation and launch the digital euro as quickly as possible. Staying on the topic of digital assets, let me make a wider perspective on the issue of stablecoins. The ESM, first and foremost, fully supports the digital euro project to provide European citizens and firms with a digital means of payment, both for retail and wholesale use. Europe should not be dependent on US dollar denominated stablecoins, which are currently dominating markets. The ECB is right to warn on financial stability risks which may emerge from our exposure to foreign currency denominated stablecoins. We need to close the remaining regulatory gaps if they are there. At the same time, I believe Europe should also embrace the potential for financial innovation with stablecoins and tokenized assets. Stablecoins are an inevitable part of this equation. In a rapidly evolving financial landscape, Europe should do its best to facilitate the generation of euro-denominated stablecoins by domestic issuers. On that account, I find it a welcome development that several European banks have created a consortium to launch a euro-denominated stablecoin. Today was not meant to discuss regulation, but it seems clear to us at the ESM that European rules should serve the double purpose of creating space for a European stablecoin market and preserve financial stability.
Thank you. The floor is open for questions. I see Jorge, please.
Jorge Valero with Bloomberg. A couple of questions for the Commissioner. You met with the caretaker French minister today. So the question is, what was the message or even the warning that you gave him? In particular, for example, when it comes to the pension reform that is being part of the discussions to secure the budget approval, whether if there are some changes or even the pension reform is killed, whether France will have to find savings somewhere else, and if that happens and they don't achieve the fiscal sustainability, they risk sanction from the EU side.
Yeah, thank you for this question. So indeed, today I had a first meeting with Minister Lescure to discuss political situations, possible next steps, and as well as work on budget preparations. And it is clear that for 2026, substantial consolidation measures are needed to stay within the maximum net expenditure growth required under the French medium-term fiscal structural plan. And I emphasized the importance of sticking with this medium-term plan. Well, as you know, still the process of formation of government is now in a progress, as well as a process of formation of 2026 budget. So we will provide our formal assessment of compliance as part of the autumn European semester package, and we hope that France will soon be in a position to address urgent policy needs linked with sustainable growth, fiscal sustainability in line with the objectives of the EU economic governance framework. Thank you.
Thank you. Bjarke, I saw.
Hi, Bjarke Sensmeyer from Politico. I'm just trying to get a sense for where the stablecoin talks are going to take us. And I guess probably the easiest way of asking that is whether you gentlemen believe that MiCA is still fit for purpose. Thank you.
Yes, I do. And within the discussion that we had today, there was a clear recognition from ministers who contributed of the importance of stability of regulation and of the role that stable regulation can play in predictability and therefore encouraging investment and innovation. Like any regulation within the European Union, its matters are always kept under review and assessed, but the clear view today from governments is that we do believe it is a regulation that is fit for purpose and playing a very important role.
Thank you. Over here, the gentleman. Sorry, Commissioner.
Yes, thank you. No, just to add a couple of words, obviously that's an issue we're also following closely from the Commission side, and MiCA includes safeguards to mitigate the risks posed by global stablecoins, which include powers granted to the both national and European level competent authorities. And there are measures such as mandatory reserve rebalancing mechanisms, supervisory cooperation, limits of payment usage, requirement for legal entity established in the EU, so to strengthen these protections. But obviously, in light with recent US developments, we continue to follow the situation closely to see whether our framework is sufficient to support market growth, especially for euro-denominated stablecoins, while taking care of the risks, because the fact remains that right now some 99% of all stablecoins are issued in US dollars. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Hi, Owen O'Hare from the Business Post. Just quick questions for Mr. Donohoe. Speaking on developments in stablecoins, there's been a sort of sense that the US Genius Act in particular focused minds maybe in the banks around the digital euro in a way they haven't been before. Do you think that's been the case? And how have the Irish banks reacted, given that they've spoken about the costs that are going to be associated with the digital euro for them? And just briefly on the Portuguese experience of IPOs mentioned today, what did you take from that that could apply to our experience with IPOs in Ireland?
Great, thanks very much for your questions, Owen. So firstly, in relation to the Portuguese experience, what they have done is developed a simulation where SMEs who are considering IPOs, they can engage with Portuguese authorities and see the benefits and understand the consequences of their companies going through an IPO and participating in stock exchanges and in the issuance of stock. And it was a very interesting example of the efforts that a government is making to help businesses understand that there are more ways of gaining funding for their growth than just using their own balance sheet. And in terms of what that could mean for Ireland, it's certainly something I'd like to consider further. In Ireland, so many of our companies, as they look to grow, just use their own balance sheets to do it. And perhaps this is a consequence of the long shadow of the crisis in Ireland, that businesses now take care regarding the use of different sources of funding. And it's certainly something, having heard our Portuguese colleagues speak about, that I want to examine further. In relation to the digital euro, the digital euro project had begun before any of the developments that we're seeing taking place in America had taken place. So it's a project that predates all of the developments that we're now seeing in stablecoins. But I think it is fair to say that developments that we're seeing in other parts of the world have added to the urgency of the digital euro project. And governments and the Commission and the ECB are now eager to accelerate it further. And then in terms of the engagement that I've had with our own banking system on it, yes, there are issues and concerns that our banks have regarding costs that the digital euro could pose for them. And we're, as a finance minister, is aware that this is one of the next important set of issues that we need to engage on. But I'm firmly of the view that the digital euro will offer opportunities and benefits to European banks, and that the concerns that they have in relation to costs that we can also deal with in the context of the big opportunities the digital euro will offer. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have Fanny Roux online.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Good evening, Fanny Roux, MLX. I have a follow-up on stablecoins. Some member states voiced support for review of the MiCA regulation. And what are the next steps of this discussion? And also a follow-up on what Mr. Gramegna said earlier. You talked about regulation gaps on the matter. Could you elaborate a little bit on this, please? Thank you.
So I'll come in that first, and I know the Commission and Valdis will also outline their view on it. Actually, countries who spoke today actually emphasised the importance of stability of regulation and the very important role that MiCA is playing. But as I said earlier on, it's always the case with any regulation or law that we have, that we assess it for its appropriateness and make sure it's effective in the way we want. And the Commissioner outlined that himself a few moments ago. But ministers who intervened today did so to, in many cases, acknowledge the importance of MiCA and the role that we believe it can play in creating a stable environment for the development of the sector here in Europe. And the Commission have already outlined there a moment ago, Commissioner Dombrovskis did, regarding how we always assess any regulation, including this one.
Thank you. And one last question. Yes.
Yes, I mentioned my caution on it was more a general remark. We should fill gaps if there are gaps. I mean, the discussion today did not offer the opportunity to go into the details of this, but it is clear that the high level of US-denominated stablecoins in dollars are there, and they are an increasing number now. And we just, to be on the safe side, as President Donohoe has mentioned, we need to see at the light of the developments if the MiCAR directive is fit for purpose. For the time being, it looks like that, but I think it is important to always adjust if it is necessary. I didn't want to say more than that.
Thank you. And one last question to Sabine on the back. Thank you.
Thanks for the floor. Sabina Rosset with ANSA. My question is for Mr. Gramegna. I go out of topic, sorry, but I take the opportunity to have you here. I wonder if Bulgaria has asked already to join the ESM, and if so, if this means that for the second time a new member of the euro area will ratify the treaty, both versions, while Italy hasn't done it yet. Thank you. And what, of course, was your assessment? Thank you.
Thanks for the question. So Bulgaria has written to the ESM in September to inform the ESM that it is ready to join the ESM. So that's welcome news. And so in order to do that, Bulgaria needs to ratify the ESM treaty. And it will do so in the course of probably the first quarter or second quarter of next year. As you are well aware, Bulgaria will become a member of the euro area on the 1st of January of next year, so in the aftermath it will do the ratification. So what Bulgaria is going to ratify is the treaty as is. And the fact that Italy has not ratified the amended treaty of the ESM is not a problem as such, because we have an ESM treaty that has entered into force a long time ago. And so the only part that is not active is the amended treaty that Italy has not ratified.
And I should just acknowledge that Minister Petkova, the Finance Minister of Bulgaria, has now been attending our Eurogroup meetings as a preliminary step to her and Bulgaria becoming full members of the Eurogroup on the 1st of January. And it's a very tangible sign of us getting ready to welcome Bulgaria into the euro area.
Thank you. Thank you to our speakers and to all of you for coming. Have a nice evening.